Solve the rational inequality and write the solution in interval notation. 9x minus 1 over x minus 9, which is less than or equal to 1. So we write out the inequality 9x minus 1 over x minus 9, and it's less than or equal to 1. So our goal is to get a 0 on the right-hand side of the inequality, so we're going to subtract 1 to the left side. So we have 9x minus 1 over x minus 9 minus 1, and now it's going to be less than or equal to 0. And so now this is going to be 1 over 1, and we want to be able to find a common denominator between those two fractions. Well, the common denominator between 1 and x minus 9 is x minus 9. And so now, what would we have to multiply by x minus 9 to get x minus 9? Well, that's 1. And what do we need to multiply 9x minus 1 by? It's also 1. So we get 9x minus 1 in the numerator here. And then 1 times what's going to give us x minus 9, which is x minus 9. And then we got to do the same thing in the numerator. So this is 1 times x minus 9, which is x minus 9. Okay, now in step 4, we want to be able to distribute and combine our like terms using the common denominator of x minus 9. So we have 9x minus 1, and then we're going to distribute the sign to both of those terms. So we have minus x and then plus 9. So now we end up getting 9x minus x, which is 8x. And that's minus 1 plus 9, which is plus 8, all over x minus 9, which is less than or equal to 0. And now let's just factor this remaining part here. So if we factor the numerator, we can factor out an 8. And what we get is x plus 1 all over x minus 9, and therefore that's less than or equal to 0. Okay, now in step number 7, we want to be able to find our critical points. Okay, so looking at the numerator, we have 8 times x plus 1, and we're going to set that equal to 0. Now if we divide both sides by 8, we get x plus 1 on the left side, and 0 divided by 8 is going to give us 0. And then when we solve for x, we're going to subtract 1 to both sides, so x is going to equal negative 1. In the denominator, we have a restricted value. And that means we have x minus 9, and if we set that equal to 0, x is equal to positive 9. So that restricted value tells us that we cannot include this point. And if you notice, the inequality is less than or equal to. So let's go ahead and draw our number line with our critical points included. So we have negative 1, and then we have positive 9. And we're going to draw our regions. So region 1, region 2, and then region 3. And so region 1, we're starting from negative infinity and we're going to negative 1. Now negative 1 is not a restriction, and since this is less than or equal to, we can use a bracket here. So we have negative infinity to negative 1 with a bracket. And then we're going to use another bracket on negative 1 and going towards 9. Well, 9 is a restriction, which would make this undefined, so we have to use a parenthesis for 9. So in region 2, we have bracket negative 1 to 9 parenthesis. And then again, a parenthesis at 9 going to positive infinity. So therefore, this is going 9 to infinity. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to find our testing points for each region. So for region number 1, we can pick x is equal to negative 2. And then we're going to use this inequality down here, because it's the easiest one to plug our numbers in. So this is 8 times x plus 1 over x minus 9. We want to see if that's less than or equal to 0. So we have 8 times negative 2 plus 1 over negative 2 minus 9. Well, we know that negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, and negative 1 times 8 is going to give us negative 8. Negative 2 minus 9 is negative 11, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So 8 over 11, is that less than or equal to 0? Well, that's false. So we know it's going to be false in region number 1. If we take a look at region number 2, we can pick x to be 0. And again, using the inequality, 8 times x plus 1 over x minus 9. And see if that's less than or equal to 0. So we have 8 times 0 plus 1 over 0 minus 9. Well, 0 plus 1 is 1, and 1 times 8 is 8. 0 minus 9 is negative 9. So we have negative 8 ninths. And is that less than or equal to 0? Well, that is true. If we take a look at region number 3, we can pick the value of 10. So x is going to equal 10. And then we're going to plug it into the inequality. So we have 8 times 10 plus 1 over 10 minus 9. Well, 10 plus 1 is 11, and times 8 is 88. 10 minus 9 is 1. And so is 88 less than or equal to 0? Well, that is false. So we know it's false in region number 3. So where do we see that it's true? Well, it's true in region 2, which is that interval there. So therefore, the answer is bracket negative 1, 9.